Hello. Yeah. So today I have a little chat about the existence of life and us as the human race and the evolution thereof of us. Uh, an episode of abnormal, of normal versus abnormal, normal versus normal, abnormal versus normal. um, yeah. So the evolution of the people, we've come so far from the days of physical violence, though we still have it. Um, but our violence has evolved into a much more sophisticated way of warfare in many ways. Um, there's warfare of science, where science is used um, to fight. There's economic warfare, where uh, people's economy is closed, shut down, um, to force a certain outcome. Others just shut down others because it helps whatever they're trying to do. They call it dog eats dog. I feel like the world is too big for an individual to shut down another individual just so they can thrive. But we are so sophisticated, and all these types of warfares that we use are an evolution of where we come from, because we used to be a very war-ridden world. It's not just countries; it's the whole world. Your Americas, your Africas, um, your Indias, your Chinas, Japan, Turkey, European diaspora. And we come from those contentious histories of bloodshed, and fighting was a norm. It's still somewhat normal now, but they try to put laws that say it's not allowed. But we've moved from visible warfare to psychological warfares, spiritual warfares, which work, because that's how sophisticated the world is. It's just that individuals who have the power in certain sectors use what they know and what they are able to do. With what they have. Now, somebody's asking economical warfare, how does it work? It's basically shutting off a line to make a living or to make money, for one. Um, for instance, if I own distribution and say we're in the music industry and I don't want you to get in the same pool, I basically say to whoever I distribute for, I do not want you to take this person's work through me. Then I phone my other distribution partners and I say, listen, then we shut off that channel. Um, or in our media spaces, because most of our media things are perceptions, are built on perception, not the truth, perception, what it seems like. And so we use that to taint somebody's ability to get work, example. But this is intertwined into politics, in any job market, it's used. That's economic warfare, which plays a lot of into the psyche of a person, psychology of a person. That's why psychology is so important. If you're in politics, it's important. If you're in the arts, it's important. Um, Even in uh, psychology is even important with soldiers. Uh, because of the social teachings um, that put us in a box of thinking, a certain way of thinking. It's like suffering. Suffering is an illusion. It's a created idea. So when I say created idea, I mean like uh, our educational system, social educational system equally, and at home, gives us this idea um, of looking forward to the future, right? What do you want to do when you grow up, right? And so, and then it embellishes the future with certain possibilities, many possibilities. But what then it does is it takes you away from living your life now. Because when you're a child and you're less educated, you don't think much about what's coming. You only know now, right? Mm. It's good to think about the future, but not to dwell in it and make it your alpha and omega because there's only one alpha and omega, right? But what happens is then as you grow and you don't attain these things that you so wished you to attain, you wanted to attain, then it becomes a problem, right? And then you start suffering. You are suffering things that are not there. You're suffering your disappointments, and you start to feel pain that isn't there, right? Because if you haven't gotten something that you wished for, that shouldn't really break you because you don't have it. But that's what starts happening because of the ideas and the ideologies that we're being taught from a very young age about things that we don't have, right? And then we start holding on to things that we had, the promise, right, from our primary schools or high schools, and the ideas that we let go of those things that made us happy, looking forward to the future that is still unattainable. Then suffering happens. Then we have ideas built into our systems through customs and traditions in our own homes that make us suffer the unseen. Things like your ancestors are punishing you, or there's a way to do things, and if you can't do the things the way they're supposed to be done, then you suffer those consequences, which is actually an idea again of the social teaching, you know. And so this social teaching is also the reason why it is so possible to hurt people without touching them psychologically, using these economic waves and spiritual waves. And the biggest form of warfare we have in the world is manipulation, the art of psychologically manipulating people. You have to teach them something so they believe in it, and you hold them to it. Right? This is us, the people, the human race. We are beyond sophistication. We are brilliant minds. It's us. Yes, it's the human being. Um, the human beings that build the pyramids, the human beings that build the airplane, the human beings that can clone now, the human beings that can make diseases that they don't even need to inject into you, but can let fly into the atmosphere and get into your body. These are the human beings, the human beings that can put nutrients in your body, no longer by eating, but transfusing or changing solids into liquids, and then getting them the nutrients into a little bag, that they can poke into your skin, into your vein, and let the nutrients get into your body without you eating. We are so sophisticated, So I was thinking the other day that maybe we are beyond these bodies, not just the human beings, but cows, birds, the food that we eat. We are spirits. And then maybe we, as spirits, got into a place where we were traveling the earth and the universe and got so bored by this flowing of us as an energy around the earth, as electricity, electrical waves, is also us. It's a spirit, it's an energy that we started creating other things, because a lot of wind force changes into these thunderic lightnings. That's us, the air, the wind. And then through years and thousands and thousands of years, we became human beings, we became birds, we became cows. We built these engines because all of these animals are similar. Similar. 2 legs, 2 hands, or 4 legs. The birds has 2 wings and 2 legs. A chicken, same, wing, 2 wings, 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 legs. Even crocodiles have 4 legs. These 4 parts that help us to move for mobility. It is a copied science and repetitious. If you look at the car, it's got 4 wheels, a screen, a face. If you look at the bridges we have, it's a repetition of trees and their branches. And then we take that formula of interlocking trees and we build bridges. The science has been there for a while. Everything we know is taught from nature, from our surroundings. So I was thinking that maybe we are beyond these bodies. We are the electricity. We are the wind. And over time we got tired of this and we built these bodies. And the source of this energy, this electricity that we may be able to capture electricity, but we don't know where it comes from. And I'm not talking about Eskom and the companies that generate electricity, because they capture this energy, yes, from the atmosphere, but they won't be able to tell you where it comes from. Nobody knows where electricity comes from, but they know how to generate the electricity. It's something that's already here, but how to generate it? They need certain power, certain wind elements to work for it, certain burning for the steam to create this energy that we call electricity. So we are more than just these bodies. We are this electricity, this spirit, this energy. And whatever we come from is a single source. There's one source. That's beyond Earth, that's beyond the universe. It's bigger than all of this. Because just as you think where you are is big, then you look outside and you find out there's even a bigger world. And that bigger world is not even as big as you thought it was, because now there's space, and space, Earth is just a tiny little fragmented place. And this small place, out there in the universe, there are bigger planets. Within or outside of those bigger planets, there's a darker, bigger, space down there. And probably beyond that, there's something more. And we're just a fragment of the original source. Some of us call it God, the source. We use symbols for God, who is one energy, by the way, because we all breathe the same air. We are the same air. Black, white, cow, bird, carrot, a potato. We are the same thing. We eat the same thing. Same things are in our bodies. Some eat fish, in their bodies. Some eat potatoes, some eat mealies in different forms, whether it's cornflakes or it's mealies from the ground or it's mealies from the shop, but it's the same thing. We poop the same things. You know, others eat, meat. Meat eats grass. I'm just saying, it's a different form. But all of these things also have water in them, which means each and every one of us is filled with these liquids called water, which are burnt by the same sun. The sun in America is not a different sun than here in Africa. It's the same sun. It's just the amounts are different maybe, but it's the same sun. It's the same source of energy. We are all eating food that is poured upon by the same sun. So at some point, we are the same thing. The sun is pouring down on earth and we are eating, the rays that come from the sun, the same sun all over the world. We eat food that is touched by the same sun. We're the same, but we are beyond these bodies. And I feel if we build these bodies like we built the car, and we're going to carry on building things, more things. Now we're building robots that work on their own, computers that work with algorithms. You no longer need to type in things and search things, um, you know, in depth and isolate words anymore on the net. The net figures it out for you. Soon enough, people are gonna do their PhDs online. Research that is brought to them. That means our minds are no longer going to need to work the way they used to work. You know. And so maybe we are godly because we come from God. The world, the earth, as we know it, is going to shrink because of these technologies. So when it shrinks, we're going to be forced to endure and live with one another and let each other be who we are or what we think we are. Because what we are, we may never know. We can know who we think we are, but we are beyond these bodies. That's when somebody asks you who you are and you answer, just reflect on your answer when you're alone at home. Were you telling them what you are or who you are? Because if I say I'm a loving person, is that who you are or what you are? Who you are is beyond the words and explanations. And yes, you are love. You are not a loving person. You are love. Utando. You're beyond this bodily condition because this bodily condition acts differently in different situations. There's no way you can act the same. I mean, you could, but if you're being stoned by rocks, you need to move out, get out of the way. You can't stand there and say I'm the same no matter what. No. When certain conditions hit you, you have to learn to deal with them. Right? Now, how you deal with them is the important thing here. How you deal with them. But you can't deal with something that you have no idea. You've never encountered before. If you've never been in snow and you get into snow and you find out it's cold, right? You know that you'll need heat to get warm again, right? But you learn this. You learn. You adapt to it. And you act differently when you're in the snow. You can't say I'm going to act the same in the snow as I do when I'm in the sun. So Canada and South Africa are different in terms of weather. When it's winter in South Africa, it's cold, yes. but it doesn't snow. In Canada, it probably snows. You know, we're gonna have to learn new ways of attacking that. We're gonna need to wear thermal vests, something you have no idea about. I'm at Jimmy John's, those long cold preventing underwears. You know, some people in Africa know nothing about those underwears. And it's cool because they're in a different environment. Environment sometimes detects how this body becomes, and we must acknowledge that and get used to it. But if you're not used to it, it'll make you act a different way. But if we always remember that we are beyond these bodies, we are bigger than these bodies. The energy we possess, we built master places with these bodies. Acknowledge we are great, we are godly. Our bodies may do as they please sometimes, but just come back and remember that these bodies are just vehicles, like BMWs. Sometimes they crash and we get mad and angry. And most of the time they're brilliant. They're awesome technologies. These bodies are technologies, and we are one. I'm you, you are me. We breathe the same air. We eat from the same sun. We're spirits. That's it.